Anthony, I'm glad you're here. Those of you that are new jumping on, about 65% of you haven't subscribed yet. Subscribe. This is something that hits you, it nudges you, it does something for you. Subscribe, share it with somebody because this moment that we have together is going to be something that changes your life. This is a secret ingredient, especially those of you feeling left behind. And what do I mean by left behind? I sat with a client just the other day, and this client was telling me about they were in their 60s. And I started to ask them about some of these dreams that they had in their heart. And as they began to tell me about their current life and their current situation and their current successes, being in business and doing well and having a blessed life and all of those things. And I said, and I asked a pointed question, and I ask you this one. There may be things that you want. There's desires in your heart. There's all things, all sorts of things. Maybe whatever those things are. But the real question is, what does it mean to you? What do those things, achieving those, having those, what do they mean to you? And when I drew back and we started to get in deeper about this conversation, and I asked that to this client, and I said, what does it mean to you for this thing to happen? And they began to share, and they said, when I was in my 20s, I had wanted to be a counselor. When I was in my 30s, I had wanted to kind of be a psychologist and really help people. The bottom line, they wanted to help people. They wanted to sit with them. They wanted to guide them. They wanted to lead them. And they had this in their heart and they weren't doing it. And they were looking back at their life and they were saying, I don't know why I didn't do that. It seemed like life kept getting in the way. I had a family, then I had children, then we moved, and it just seemed like things kept piling on and piling on and piling on. And as they in their 60s now and they look back and they said to themselves, they have all these qualifications. They've had success, but there was a couple ingredients and there's a couple things they wanted to do, and they look back and they said, I'm not doing those. And I said, well, what would that mean to you if you began to do that? If you were working with these people or coaching these people or guiding these individuals, what would that mean to you? And they started to cry. They got emotional. They said that would mean everything to me. I believe that's why I was created. I believe that's why I'm here on earth. And so today, those of you that feel left behind, right? And I want to share a little bit of my own story. Is feeling left behind for my own self was, I had these great successes. I was with this global brand. I had worked with companies like American Express and eBay and PayPal and celebrities on the red carpet and red carpet events and the coolest places you could imagine, the Golden Globes and the SAG Awards and all those kinds of things, and big enterprises and all of that. And I looked inside myself and I knew I felt left behind. I felt like all those things were great and it was some of the skills that I had, but it wasn't the one thing that was really inside to me. And that one thing was being able to guide people and lead people, and I didn't even know it, but it was to coach people. It was to see other people succeed. And as many of you know, that my calling is to prepare you for the end in mind. And what do I mean by the end in mind is Matthew 25, when the parable of the talents, they come back, and the question gets, not just the question, but the statement is, well done, my good and faithful servant. I believe my calling here is to prepare you to hear those words, well done, my good and faithful servant. And so when you're feeling left behind and you're starting to realize it and you're starting to look at the clock and what time you have left and what energy you have left, and you say, okay, I'm not quite there. How do I get there? How do I move from where I'm at, and how do I even start this, right? And that's what this moment is here for you today. I'm going to give you the key ingredient, the one ingredient in particular that every one of my clients is coming for. Six figures, seven figures and up. And it's this one thing. And I would say that even in my own career, I noticed the same thing, that when you start to rise to higher and higher levels, your circles get smaller and smaller. And this thing, this one ingredient, this one piece is accountability. When you have it, everything sticks together and it moves forward. When you don't have it, the numbers can get fudged. You can begin to lie to yourself. And we all know that we all lie to ourselves, and our favorite person to lie to is us, and we believe it. But if you're accountable, it starts to put you back on the track of where you want to go. And so I'm going to bring forth a couple stories, a couple scriptures to you today. And I really want to challenge you about accountability in your framework and in your system. And it's part of the purpose blueprint. That's why it's in there, because as I go and as you, if you haven't watched that or haven't seen it, go through that video. It starts with ownership. Then it starts with vision and mission and skills and habits and mindset, and then accountability. And accountability is that piece. It's like the backbone of everything. It keeps you going where you need to go. Okay. One of the things, and one of the quotes that comes to mind for me is this about accountability. It says, accountability is the glue that ties commitment to results. It's not only what we do, but also what we do not do, for which we are accountable. You can be accountable for great things, but then you also have to be accountable for things that aren't so great. And I want to bring a couple scriptures your way today, because when you become accountable, it is the one ingredient that you must have in order to transform. If you want to have more freedom for your family, if you want to create more ways for you to be generous, if you want to transform and maximize your purpose, your income, and your impact, accountability is going to be the place and the thing that really keeps it all in line. And I'll even share this. When I first started coaching, I would do monthly coaching sessions with individuals, because that was kind of what people were telling me to do. They said, do a month, every month, meet with them, and it keeps, your schedule and all that kind of stuff. And so I started to do that. And there was good results. The people were progressing. However, I had a client say to me one time, they said, "Hey, can we just meet weekly? I just really want to stay on this." And I said, "Sure." And so we started to meet weekly. Now, and it wasn't what I normally did, but that's what they asked. And we started to do that. And what happened was their results went from 2x, 3x to 20x, 20x of what they were wanting, what they were going for, what they were wanting to do. And it was simply because of this accountability. And I've had multiple clients now. I do it with all my clients. I change everything from monthly to weekly. And this is why. I have clients that they're busy during the week. They have kids, they have families, they have events, they have all those things, and they see our calendar event in the calendar, and they tell me almost every week, "Oh, I know I got to get this stuff done because I'm going to have to see you and talk to you about it, and we're going to go over it, and I know you're going to challenge me and you're going to question me." I've got some individuals that simple things of just having a date night. I have other individuals that need to make more calls and get more leads and get more sales. And so they're constantly on it. I have other clients that it's about them getting more movement in their day, more working out in their day, because they know that it helps their mind. It gives them endorphins. It fills them up. They do better work when they do it. And all of a sudden, things happen faster and quicker than they ever imagined, right? And so the scripture that I love to get into and here with you guys today on this, one of them in particular is, let me find it. Um, Proverbs 27:17. I just was trying to find the name. Proverbs 27:17, you all know it. It's iron sharpens iron and one man sharpens another. A sword cannot get sharpened on its own. It needs someone else to sharpen it. It needs something else to bring that back into its full and rightful ability. That's what accountability does. Ability. It's accounting for your ability. You catch that? It's accounting for your ability. And your ability many times is not fully and it's not maximized. It's a dull sword. You are living life in a dull sword. And so when you look at, and here's another thing I like to share quickly about, is what success is. Many of you have this idea of success, and many people think success is having a bigger house and having more cars and being able to travel when you want to. Success might even be like that you have a great healthy marriage and those things. But here's what success really is. Success is not comparing yourself to others. That's never success. It's not who's got the best car or whatever. There's always somebody that has something bigger than you do. So that will never bring you fulfillment. That's not success. Success is being able to do that which you were created to do and matching it. living up to what God created you to do. So if you're not feeling successful, if you're not matching, and I always kind of give this picture of here's my body, but then there's other Anthony over here, a little bit forward of where I'm at, and that's pulling me into all that God has called me to be. My calling, my purpose, my potential is over here. And so my success is doing the things I need to do to reach that full potential. It's doing the things in my mind. It's doing the things with ownership, with my vision, with skills. It's having accountability to do the things I need to do when I need to do them and do them right way. That is wisdom. And so if you're having trouble with success, that is success. If you feel left behind, that's why you feel left behind. You're not doing the things you need to do to get you into the place that you've been created to do. And if you've had to peel it back and say, well, what am I created to do? That's a whole nother video about what God created you to do and your purpose. And I'll do that one of those days, but this isn't the video. This video is about accountability. And your accountability is going to keep you in line, on track with your potential, with what God has for you, with all of those things that you know are in your heart. They're not happening. Just like I mentioned the story with the client that she's in her 60s now and looking back and saying, it hasn't happened yet. It hasn't happened yet. And she said, now is a time where it must happen. And now we're taking the course. She's doing the work. She's going in that direction. She's got accountable, right? To be able to get there. And just like I said before with Proverbs, iron sharpens iron. So who is sharpening you? When was the last time you were sharpened? And I don't mean just like you and the guys or you and the girls. I mean real sharpening, real pointed questions about your life. Because guess what? You are accountable to everything. Okay? It says in Romans 14:12, each of us will give an account of himself to God. I want you to think about that, because when you get to that point with the Lord, and even if the Lord was to come with you now and say, hey, are you doing everything you need to do to max out your potential? Are you doing, and I had to go before the Lord even recently. I said, Lord, forgive me. I've almost been a Christian for 20 years. And I look at where I'm at and where I could be, because there's so much lost time that I've had, distractions, or thinking I was doing something, or just going through the motions with my time with the Lord, or going through the motions with what I really needed to do, wasting time. And I want to bring urgency to this. I am on earth for this, for you. If you're not hearing this from somebody else, I want to give that to you, because you need to hear this. That are you really doing everything that you need to do to max out your potential? Are you going to sit with the Lord? If he was sitting with you right now and he said, hey, are you maxing it out? What are you doing with your time? What are you focusing on? What are you not focusing on? What do you need to get rid of? What distractions are in your day? And I'll tell you right now, you show me your screen time. You show me your screen time, and I'll show you your future. You want accountability? Show somebody your screen time. Show somebody what you're doing with your calendar. Where is it? Where is it going? Where is it matching up? And is it matching up to the vision that you've placed for your life? Is it matching up to the potential that God has created for you? And I will most likely take a wild guess and say that 95% of you, that it's not. You are not maxing out. You are not doing everything that you need to do. And it's okay, because I'm there. I've been there. I've sat there. I've realized that, you know what, life was moving quick, and I was not doing the things that I needed to do, because you will take into account everything, every word out of your mouth, every action that you are committing into this situation. And so I want to pause there for a second. I want you to think about it. I want you to go to the Lord and say, where do I need accountability in my life? What is distracting me? John 10:10, that the enemy comes to steal, kill, and destroy or distract. But then it says, I have come to bring you life and more abundantly. And I think more abundantly and more life is a great thing to have. And so I don't want to be distracted into the things that don't matter, into conversations that don't matter, into hanging out with people that don't matter, into any of those things, because you have to take into account at the end And you have to look at the Lord and say, Lord, I missed it. And I want you today to look at what you're doing and say, okay, these are things, these are areas, these are challenges for you to say, you know what? You are better than that. God has created you in the likeness and the image of Him. You have all that you need to be able to get to where you want to go. You want to make more money for your family? You want to have freedom for your family? Great. Get your calendar in order. Get your time in order. Get accountable to somebody that's holding you to those things. You want your marriage to be better. You want relationship with your children to be better. Don't hope is not a strategy. No, it's a plan. It's accountability. It's alignment. It's potential. It's purpose. It's everything that you are created to do. And I'm harping on it and I'm harping on it because I know that so many of you are just kind of whatever happens, happens. And I tell you right now that when you stand before the Lord and you say, Lord, whatever happened, happened, He's going to say, I gave you all these gifts. I gave you all this talent. I gave you all this time. And what did you do with it? Was it for my glory or was it for you just to be content and be fulfilled? No, I don't want you playing on the bench. I always give this analogy with clients. What the devil will make you do, and here's a lot of times where many people think that they're good, but they're not great. I had a client come on and he was saying, hey, I'm blessed and I'm doing well. And I said, well, is that the maximum that you can do? And they looked and they said, no, but I'm good. I'm doing good and I'm blessed. I said, but is that the maximum that God's created you to do? And they kind of looked down and they said, no, it's not. It's not. And you know why? Because they're not challenged and they're not accountable to the next level, to the upgrade, to what's more. And I tell you what, it's not going to be easy. Going into a new path and a new place and a new destination is difficult. Your mind is wired for certain things. And it's not sometimes wired for the next, for the best, for doing more, for going harder, for any of those things. And so that's where I come in. When the purpose blueprint comes in and I sit with clients, that's what I do because I know it works. And I know that they will be running toward their potential. They will be looking at the Lord in the face and saying, Lord, yes, use me. Use me more than you've ever used before. Why? Because the Lord knows that that person's accountable. They know that they can be trusted. They know that they're aligned and going towards what God created them to do, not just what everybody else is doing. This isn't about what everybody else is doing. This is about what you're supposed to be doing. And you know it, and I know it. And if you covered it up and you buried it with life, this is the wake up. This is a reminder. God hears you. He's tapping. He's saying, hey, wake up. There's still time. There's still time for you to do something. There's still time for you to get moving on this vision and goal. And there's still more people that you can help. And there's still more things that you need to do. So I want to pause there with you for today. Accountability. I challenge you to look in your own life. Is your sword sharpened by somebody else and truly sharpened where there's friction, where there's heat, where there's sparks that happen? Because when iron hits iron, things happen. Energy happens. You get sharper. You get aligned. You get full of purpose. You get full of vision. You get full of knowing where you need to go. And it hurts. It hurts a little bit. Of course, iron on iron hurts a little bit. But that pain is your progress, right? You're not a victim. You're victorious. The greater one lives in you. Greater is he that's in you than he that's in the world. So you've got this. And I just want to challenge you. If there's anything in this message, if you haven't subscribed, subscribe. If you need to share with somebody, share. If you need to get accountable with somebody, reach out. Those of you that are curious, interested, saying, hey, this is my time and this is my season to line up my purpose, line up my potential, line up my impact, line up my income, have more income for my family, be more generous to be able to do those things that I've really wanted to do in my heart, then reach out. Links below. Schedule some time with me. I'd love to build out a plan for you that is going to take you, upgrade you, lift you into all that God has called you to be. God bless you. Go get it.